of the weekend.
Yeah.
We already get excited because the weekend is going to be so much fun. The time to relax for many of us, time to relax, time to unwind after having most likely a hectic week. And we are here to also make your Friday much more fun because on this show, it's going to be entertaining, it's going to be exciting, it's going to be inspirational. My name is Ifeoluwa Olaoye, and I am not alone on the show today.
And my name is Temitokwe Olubodun. Beautiful morning to you, Fellow.
Good morning.
I love you, Erin.
Thank you. All right. Now, the show today, like I said, it's going to be quite exciting. And although I said it earlier that the weekend is the time to have fun and unwind because it's the beginning of the weekend, our guest today might not really be able to relate.
Yeah, because it's a start
of a work week for him, basically, because of what they do. And which is why I will also mention that while it seems like it's the beginning of the weekend and time to unwind for a lot of people, there are also some people that it is the beginning of a work week for them. We have MCs, we have caterers, we have musicians, we have voiceover artists, we have entertainers. You know, a lot of people actually work during the weekend. And our guest is also someone like that. But before he comes in, let's go see this Vox Pop on this question: are Nigerian youths lazy? We'll be right back.
Our government, everything is on their hands. And number two is that our government should try to create job for us, for the youths. Because nowadays, many graduates are in this country that they need employment. So we have OND, we have HND, we have other degrees, diploma. So what I can order to beg the government is that they should try for the youths. Some youth they can even establish their own business, but I have no money.
Actually, Nigerian youths are not lazy because the youths of nowadays, they're actually trying in going into learning of handworks because we have different kind of hand trades. But the only thing we're begging the government to do is just to assist us in employing the youths, not providing some kind of jobs for them to be able to showcase their handworks.
It's all about perspective. We have different perspective for doing things. Those that said Nigerian youths are lazy might be right in some aspect, in some sense, and they might not be right. But to me, I believe I'm not lazy because, as you can see me now, I'm going to my place of work. So, and we have those that are lazy, and it will be judged based on the larger percentage of the youth that are engaged in all this internet scam and all sort of fraudulent activities. So to some extent, Nigerian youths are lazy, and to some extent, but we won't judge with the ones that are lazy. At least there are some of us that are doing legitimate businesses here. So I'm not lazy.
The Nigerian youths are not lazy. I will assure you that Nigerian youths, no job opportunity for them. They come out from university level, no job opportunities. What I said, the higher institution is where somebody have the hope. But today, it is not like that in Nigeria. We don't know why. Please, I beg the Nigerian government to do something about this. The youth are suffering. The old ones, the older elder people are suffering. The pensioners, to get their money is not an easy thing. Now today, security is the only lucrative job today in Nigeria, which it should not be. In those days, it's only the elderly people that are doing security. Today, it's not for the youths.
I don't agree with the fact that Nigerian youths are lazy. It depends on the way you use yourself. If you use yourself rightly, if you engage yourself in something, then definitely you won't find yourself going about duping people all around. It is the way, it is the devil's, it is an idol's and that is the devil's workshop. When you find yourself doing something when they are useful to yourself, then you won't think about going about duping people.
Nigeria youths, those ones that are lazy are those ones that is not ready to do something. Those people that engage yourself doing something that is illegal, like armed robbery, kidnapping, or stealing. I can say those one. What I can say about them is that those one are people that is what I can say. They are the one that is lazy. They are not ready to do something. Those the youth Nigeria that is not lazy, they are ready to engage yourself doing something. They can be able to do what they can be able to give a better future tomorrow.
Is an accumulation of spillover or leftover of children right from a very long period of time. Let's estimate it to about 30 years ago when we started this unemployment problem in the country. Embargo this. And what matters mostly is that students or youth graduate then, they were left to source for their livelihood. Unfortunately, the blame lies right from one regime to the other. Graduates coming out of the university, year in, year out, they are not properly taken care of. Then what will be the consequential effect? The consequential effect is that psychologically, every human being wants to live with little. If they were tamed then and they were gainfully employed, the tendency is that they will decide to say that, well, I'm earning certain little money. But when they are left without anything, definitely you know that the devil always go after the idle ants. And the effect is that they continue to do any other things to get means of livelihood, even though it's not advisable.
But my own personal view is that if they can engage in, like, we have a lot of philanthropies, a lot of people that have money in this town, in this city, this country, that instead of them going to abroad to build some companies, I mean, like some people from Oyo State now, like if you are indigenous of Oyo State, then you decide to go to like Lagos to go and build your company. So that means you are increasing, you are helping the youth in the Lagos. But if you come to your state and build such companies, youth over there, we have something doing. Even though you can employ a common guard, I mean, for someone that is earning at least close to 15,000, 20,000, he knows that at the end of the month is bringing something home. So it will be okay. You know, like his hand will not be handled, even though somebody wants to lure him to something like, okay, let's go and do this, let's go and do that. He will think that, this thing, I have to be at work. But if you are sleeping at home, you're just walking around and you're not doing anything, you know, such person can be easily manipulated. You can just tell him, guy, I have one thing, more quickly run out. Before you know, he will accept because it's an handle. He doesn't see anything doing. So those are the things I see. Because Nigerian, as an Africa generally, we are very strong. So we can do some petty work. You know, look at people traveling abroad now. At least you can hear from them. Most of them do petty work. Like they help hold, they are like people working in the snows. The white people cannot work in the snows. But those are the black doing all those heavy work.
Breaking news. The home is under attack. But not for long, because Hypo is here. Dirty floors and surfaces.
Not on our watch.
Dirty and stains don't be do a shakara. We got the remedy, original palasa. Hypo, go hypo.
Germs always find a way back.
No green. Protect every day with Hypo.
Hypo, go hypo.
Welcome back to Main Morning Show on BCOS television. We just saw that vox pop on the question, are Nigerian youths lazy? Nancy, you were saying, I think Nigerian youths just don't want to work.
I'm just saying, like, when we talk about, because the vox pop was talking about, there's no employment, there's not this, and I'm like, are we sure there is no employment? Or just, people are not really going out like that to look for it.
I beg to differ.
Okay.
While it might seem like there's a lot of employment, I feel like the pay is the problem. There was something I read on social media yesterday, and a lot of people were bashing the lady in question, and I could relate, I could understand why. This person said she recommended a nanny or a caregiver.
Okay.
Someone just to clean the house and all, like a house help,
Oh, yeah.
but not a living.
Okay.
Just come twice a week or so, then go back to your house.
All right.
And she recommended this particular lady that has an HND, so she's a graduate, because she needs the money and all. She recommended her to go to a friend's house to help clean and all of those. At the end of the day, I think the first day she, worked for hours. She just gave her 1,000 naira to go. Yeah. Okay. She asked, okay, let's discuss salary and all. And she was like, no, don't worry. I pay my workers well and all of that. It went on the second day and the third day. But, because she was not offered food or water or anything, the friend had already warned that when you go to work in somebody's house, except they offer you something, do not take anything you're not offered. So it was only all what she brought when she was coming, she was able to eat. So I think on the third day after, the work and all of that, the exertion, she fainted. And then she called the woman to tell her that she won't be able to show up to work, the fourth day. And towards the end of the week, the woman then called the lady that helped her clean the house to say, hello, are you coming today? Because I have a party at the weekend. Without asking if she was fine and all.
I was not feeling good.
You understand. No empathy, nothing. So this friend had to call and say, why would you do something like that? Okay, fine. Let's just say you were even being rude. How much do you plan on paying this lady? Guess what she said?
Please.
Someone that stays, in the one eyebrow place in Lagos or one of the I class estates in Lagos. I think she said 25,000 naira.
Okay, weekly?
Not weekly, monthly. And she was supposed to show up, I think, maybe 4 or 5 times a week, take care of the kids, cook, wash, clean. Thank you. That's the point. If you're going to grade somebody, at least you should look at the kind of job they do. What kind of services do they provide? You understand? The transport, the feeding, and all of those. I feel like a lot of thoughts should go into the kind of money that you offer people. So I don't think Nigerian youths do not want to work. I just feel like the opportunities they're given are not up to standard, especially the money.
Look inward, though. If a man can think enough, what you have is enough. Sincerely, because you can have a lot. These days, nobody sits with one source of income.
Of course.
There's going to be multiple. So there's a way you come up, bring this, do your own. Oh, don't let us bore our guests. Because, we have our guests.
Okay, don't worry. We'll come back to that. Yes. But I'm still of the opinion that Nigerian youth, no, we're not lazy. Okay, so now to our guest for today, we have a seasoned MC, a broadcaster, a voiceover artist, a brand and print specialist, and a public relations expert who understands the power of communication. We have Mr. Akintayo Orishoga, a.k.a. King Sugar. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. And it's quite nostalgic. I have been to this studio.
Oh, have you?
Yeah, while I was quite young, very, very young. I think maybe when I was around 5, 6, thereabouts. There used to be a program then, Kekere Akin. I don't know if it still is. And I know later, growing up, we also watched from the studios here, Shodabe. I think it was on Sundays. After lunch from church, we have to sit down and listen to all those
programs.
And we talk about, we watch that. And I also have been influenced by a couple of veterans from these studios, likes of Kunle Junaid, Ronkefa Jemirokun, Doniro Yiyi, and I think Lere Shitu, the Baba Lere Shitu, I'm not even calling him Lere Shitu, and a couple of other, broadcasters that have, been on this set in this studio. And should I say it feels good to be home?
Of course, I'm sure it does.
So, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here today.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So you wear many hats as a broadcaster, MC, voiceover artist, PR expert, and brand specialist. Say, for instance, someone meets you for the first time. How would you introduce yourself? Or would you list all of these things?
To meet me for the first time, I would say I'm King Sugar.
Okay. Basically?
Yes, I'm King Sugar. King Sugar in the sense that I believe that I rule, I dominate. And so for whatever thing that you need, a king will provide.
King Sugar. Okay. What are for our viewers that don't understand Yoruba?
that don't understand
Yoruba.
Yoruba.
Yes, if they understand the king part.
The king part.
Yes.
Okay, Shoga is my name, Ori Shoga, and it literally translates, Ed is the master. Just like that. Ori Logara, the Ed is the master. So that's my name, and I believe that's who I am. So meeting me for the first time, I tell people I'm just me. I practically do anything for a living, legit, legal, and straightforward.
Beautiful.
That's me.
I love that. Which brings us to that box pop that we just saw.
Okay.
Are Nigerian youths lazy, in your opinion?
No. Nigerian youths are not lazy.
Why do you think so?
I would go in line with what you said earlier.
Okay.
Nigerian youths are not lazy, but they would sit back because they are not remunerated enough. That is my opinion. And on the other side as well, we would not blame the employers or the prospective employers for putting forward a particular amount of fee or charge whatsoever, like this is your remuneration, because they also are not really being paid as much on quotes like that. For example, a teacher, as much as I know, maybe a level 8, level 9 teacher in Oyo State earns fairly above 100,000, not up to 200,000 naira. The person would want to feed from 200K clothes, and maybe a family man, a family woman, as the case may be, extended families are there. And probably the person wants to take in probably an extra lesson teacher for the kids, or probably want to take in a nanny or something like that. It's still from this 200K. Expecting that this person really does not have any side hustle or business like that, so to say. So it is what they have that they can offer. Nemo Dakod non I bet you cannot give what you don't have. So if what I have is what I'm tendering you, and fine, I also feel I want more, I may not be able to take it. So the lucrativeness, so to say, of the pay is what people will say that I want fair share, but show yemato. I think that is about Nigerian youths. I believe Nigerian youths would do anything to make money, to make a living.
So basically, Nigerian youths are not lazy.
We are not
Now
lazy.
we have to against what, right?
No.
It's
We are not against
Oh,
you.
No,
okay.
we're not.
We're just tilting to the part that.
All right, we have that. Now, can you tell us how your journey into all these diverse fields began?
I think I grew up in a family where my parents tried a couple of things. My dad of blessed memory was a teacher and an accountant before he passed on. My mom is still a teacher. She's also a caterer, and she does, like I said, up and down. Growing up, our mothers were like that. So I also believe that money must be made by means, not by crook.
Okay.
So
Good to know.
yes, good to know. So I also I'm also of the school of thought. There's this thing about public transport. There's a park and there's this solar means of transiting. So I'm also of the belief that don't stay where you are, just keep moving part time. So at every point in time that I needed to get my hands on money to fend for myself and also get some things done as a young man, I got exposed to quite a couple of things. I can try this, I can try this. And like I said earlier, one of my uncles is also a cameraman that worked in these studios.
Wow.
Yes, in this studio. So I got introduced to media quite early. And I'm this kind of person that I also like to be in the face of people and like. So when I got, and we see people on the screen every day, like we believe, and which they're quite popular. At least they can fend for themselves with what they hear and so I wanted to be someone that people would see and know. So growing up, and I could talk a bit, I could organize things. So when I got in secondary school, I was in a part of the Literary Independent Society. I could say one or two things. So getting into university, I could just put my hands in things. So let's do it like this, let's do it like this. And because I was a bit jovial, people say, come and coordinate this now, come and coordinate. So I stepped in, and at a point, I discovered that I could actually make a living from speaking. While we were younger, people say he's a talkative. So, okay, my talkativeness can bring money. So at times I was not even charging. Thank you for coming, small thing. Thank you for coming. So if I actually charge, I can get more. So I developed myself. At the time, after school, I had this senior friend who was into print. So I stayed with him while I was waiting for NYSC. And discovered that there's money in this thing, and you can do this. And so I belong to a couple of other, youth organizations. So want to print this, want to do that. I know where we can print it. Like an expert will say, okay, give me 5K. And I know that when we get to this place that will do these things for this uncle, maybe 2K will finish it now. I just got a 2K for me, low more to let me go and do it. So over time, I thought, what I'm doing for free is what someone is charging 5K. Okay, instead of me charging 5K as a newbie, let me charge 3K, 3.5. And I got into it gradually. I did a couple of things here and there, and people would refer, was the one that did this for me, was one that, so I just, okay, let me get a business out of it. And also into broadcasting, I went for NYSC. I was posted to a school, and they rejected me in the school. I studied geography, and the school was a junior school, so they felt geography was not a subject in junior school. So, and while I was in camp, I was in the OBS, Orientation Broadcasting Service. I could write stories and the rest like that. And the person was just like, there's a space at OSBC, show you an interest. I was like, I would be interested. And then I, at some point, also intended a private radio station in Ibadan before I went for NY. So I felt, okay, maybe something I might want to try. And, and from there, I had my service here at OSBC Oshogbo. And I stayed back a couple of months. I was on the Yoruba desk. I wrote, and also at the reportorial. So I wrote reports. I voiced my reports myself. And sometimes I read short bulletins. And so after service, a friend who served there also, and we were in the same organization when we were in school, was like, there's an opening in this radio station. Would you mind? Let me come for audition. I went. I was picked. That was how my journey into broadcasting started. And here and there, did a couple of other things. Here we are.
Here we are. Okay, so let's say, based off what you just said, it seems like you always knew that communication was your thing. That you always knew that with this skill, I'm definitely going to get into it.
Yes.
But then you brought up how you went into print. I'm confused. Which one came first for you? Is it broadcasting or print?
Broadcasting came first.
Came first, okay.
Broadcasting came first, and along the line, I developed interest in print. Yes, let me say, I knew print first, but broadcasting took a bigger part of me. I developed it earlier than I developed print. But now, both are bringing in the...
Okay, you loved communication, so why did you study geography?
Well, I studied, I didn't intentionally want to study geography.
Okay.
I wanted to study economics.
Okay.
And I said my dad was an accountant. And then, growing up, we believed if you're not, or our parents believed if you're not an engineer, you're not a doctor, an accountant, you work in a bank.
White-collar job.
And then but while I got exposed to media, growing up, I didn't really, because I was a commercial student in secondary school, my dad wanted me to, get in line with accounting and the rest like that. So I opted, I never liked banking. I didn't just want to wake up early in the morning and tie and everything. So I just thought, okay, what is close to accounting or accountancy? Economics. I put in for economics. Geography was my second. I was double sure that I was going to get economics. But my double sure was double denial.
That did not
a double
happen.
shot, exactly. So I was given geography, and I met someone who also studied geography in UI, and I was like, geography, humanity, you can walk anywhere. And so I said, okay, let's just get into it.
Study.
But I knew at the back of my mind truly that I might not actually work with my certificates. I might eventually get on with my talent. So along the line, when I was, studying geography, and I said earlier I was doing the MC thing for school, departmental dinners, orientation, and the rest like that. So I felt, okay, let me eventually just get my certificates. And maybe after this, I also took some other certifications in broadcasting and journalism.
Okay.
At NIJ. I did a couple of courses, here and there certifications, just to sharpen my skills, and also because I knew that I needed something to be a leverage. I never even thought that you might be a broadcaster without having a certificate in probably mass communication or journalism. So, but when I got in, okay, you study geography, you have these, you've been to these courses and the rest like that, it was easy for me. It wasn't just passion. It's a couple of passion and certification for me.
All right, I think we'll come back to the MC thing. Right, Ife?
Of course.
Okay. Now we go on a commercial break. Please stay with us.
Breaking news. The home is under attack. But not for long, because Hypo is here. Dirty floors and surfaces.
Not on our watch.
Dirty and stains don't be do a shakara. We got the remedy, original palasa. Hypo, go hypo.
Germs always find a way back.
No green. Protect every day with Hypo.
This is still the mid-morning show on BCOS television with our guest, an MC, brand and print specialist, a PR expert, a voiceover artist, and of course, a broadcaster. Okay, which brings me back to you. We have King Shoga, yes, Mr. Kintayo Ori Shoga. You've taken us through your journey, how you started, and how you always knew that in a way, your voice was always going to sell you. You were definitely going to make money from, speaking and all of those. But when was that moment that you knew that, okay, this is it for you, and you were definitely going to make money from it? I mean, maybe you getting your first pay and having that assurance that, no going back. There is no going back because this money must be made.
Yeah, an incident occurred when I was in school, and this popular MC was invited for this dinner.
Okay.
It was, I think, a two-part event. I think it was a symposium for a graduating set, and later at the day, there was a dinner. So they brought him from, I wasn't very sure, I think Ibadan, Lagos.
Okay.
And that he had the first part, and he went to lodge in his hotel. They booked him, paid him, and, booked a room for him. And he went to the hotel, and it was time for the dinner. He didn't show up. Like, they were calling me, I'm resting, I'll be there. So, event is starting soon. So someone who knew what I, used to do, just called that, okay, can you just fill in for this guy till he comes, and blah, 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 like that. So I filled in, I did my thing, and he came in maybe, I think, an hour or two into the event. He came in, and they're like, we paid you, we paid you, you messed up the thing, this one, that one. Okay, you are going to join. And he said, no, he wasn't going to join. He wasn't going to co-host with me. It's his event. You are coming for an event and coming late. And so they dropped him. I finished, and I got the thanks for coming. So when I got the thanks for coming, it was more than the usual thanks for coming. I think then it was maybe 5 or 7K.
Okay. How long ago was this?
I think that was in 2010.
Yeah,
2010.
That was big money back in the day.
Yeah, 2010, So maybe I just got the money. I was like, So I asked, like, for me, and yes, do you know how much you paid the guy? I think they paid him 30K. lodged in 2 nights. And so I was like,
and he still showed up late.
So I was like, okay, when is your next? I was like, no, we are not having anything soon. Maybe when we want to have induction. It was a pharmacy, a faculty of pharmacy. So maybe we want to have induction, we'll go check. I was like, okay. I go to the room. I told my guys, guys, so there's this thing with my friends. So when we have these big money, maybe someone gets an allowance, and we just go to one cafeteria, the big one, not the usual mama put, and treat ourselves to like, if you perish, you perish. This one, that's like, guys, let's go. Like, how much did they pay? Is it not your regular 2K? I said, let's go. Like 6 of us, and thank God we are still together. We had,
till now?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, we met 20 years ago during our pre-degree.
And you've been together?
You've been together. We're just talking about 2 years that would celebrate our 20 years anniversary this year.
Wow.
So, like, let's go. We still had enough to, I was like, and that night, it just struck me like, you can actually make money. So the next department that called me, I told them I was going to charge 10K. No, we don't have 10K. We'll pay 7K. I said, no, 10K or nothing. And like, so they said, we'll get back. And it wasn't the days of WhatsApp and also. We'll just see maybe on the faculty lobby and so. And the guy just, maybe we'll see tomorrow. So the following day, I was not in class. They came looking for me. As a matter of fact, a couple of people did not know my name. So they just know this guy that does MCs in geography. So I said, no, he's not in geography, he's in Nicknam, because I had friends in almost all the departments in the faculty. So like, no. So I was just trolling in the host, and I said, how far? Is this Friday? Oh, this one, that one. And well, how much are you going to pay? They said 10K. Cash. He said yes. He said, we'll pay 5,000 after the event. Pay the 5,000. I got the 5,000 after the event. They gave me the balance. They packed food, packed juice. I said, Baba, you are getting there. And I was like, I'm getting there. But good enough, I didn't run ahead of myself. I just maintained. While I got the 10K, some were still saying, we know you when you didn't this one, that one. So we are still going to pay 3K. We are still going to give you, he's my guy. I had friends in the exports of department, so leveraging a relationship just bring the money. So I just
still went ahead to do it.
I did a couple of small jobs, and there were any small jobs, but small paying kind of. I just maintained that pace, and towards graduation, I made sure that for every event that was big that I wanted to do, just put me on the what's it called, the banners. We had banners, so just put me, even if you don't put me in one corner,
like a promotion.
Yes, just put me in one corner. And at that point, I also wanted to venture into school politics. I was in it, so just let my face be showing. And I was more like the face of one abandoned department. People were not very much in my department per set. Maybe in my faculty then were the least in each set, maybe 40, 45, others having 300, 200. So people didn't really put face in geography. Even in school politics, they give us few slots. Maybe when economics is having like 5 in the student representative council, we're having 2 part-time. So I said, okay, let me be the pride of my department. And after graduation, a friend just spoke to me and I was like, this thing that you just do up and down, you can make money. I was like, let me try. So then it was more of formal corporate events, school dinners, lectures, just organized. So I also got exposed to social events, weddings. I remember my first wedding was, I can't forget. My first wedding was a friend's cousin. And he had told me this event, I'm paying with my contribution for my cousin's wedding. I'll give you 10K, just by me, now the big boy. So I got to know, I charged them 25K.
Oh my goodness.
So he paid me 5K before the event. I was like, So after the event, the groom just hugged me, well done. I was skeptical about my wife's cousin's choice, this one, that one. Then Instagram was just coming up. So we checked a couple of people. We're just cruising on Instagram. I was like, don't worry, give me your account. So on the spot, it transferred 15K. So that's the balance.
You said balance of what?
Like, no. But I held back. So I go to meet my friend. balance.
Balance.
The shock and
Ah.
disappointment, like rah, rah, rah. So I was just trying to maneuver, like, no, mobile, because he is into tailoring. I was like, this mobile on show, kini kan boya owó yẹn ni kini kan. I didn't go and meet him and say, oh. He said, no, don't worry, we'll settle it. At the end of the day, I just gave him 5K. Like, I'm not giving you anything from this. And gradually from there, like I said, I've been a beneficiary of relationship and referrals a lot. So this person knows you do this person is, and from there it has been from grace to grace, and here we are.
Wow.
Yes.
That's a very good journey. And
one.
it was quite interesting to hear.
Thank you.
But coming from school dinners, school events, hosting school events, to social events, weddings, and all of those, and venturing into broadcasting, doing voiceovers, hosting events, I feel like the skills are quite different. You could be a broadcaster and not be able to voice over well.
Of course.
You could be a broadcaster or a voiceover artist and not be a very good MC. Be able to anchor a good show. So how are you able to juggle all of this? How come you can, do all of this confidently?
Yeah, learning stops when you die. I have given myself to learning, relearning, unlearning, and constant trainings. Like I said, I studied geography, and when I decided I was going to be an MC, I met with senior colleagues who have been in the industry. How do you do this? Even when I did the first wedding with no experience, I made sure I went back, evaluate how I did it. Okay, this guy does it. This guy, teach me how you do this. So when I also ventured into broadcasting, like I said, I had some learnings. There is no way you want to be a pro at something that you would not learn. Residual knowledge or talent is not enough. You have to, keep learning. And as Yorubas would say, what you think is in vogue today is throwback tomorrow.
So it's obsolete.
Yes, it's obsolete. So you just have to keep learning, train yourself, read, watch tutorials, and all of these. I've invested myself in all of this.
Okay, so people think what makes an MC is energy and the confidence alone. What would you say makes a great master of ceremony?
What makes a great master of ceremonies is the ability to clearly articulate your thoughts. Clarity is very important in the business of communication. If you cannot clearly express your own thoughts vis the idea and dream of your host, your client that booked you, is going to be a problem. You cannot be a master of ceremony. Just like presenters, there's a vision of the mid-morning show. It's not just, almost everybody can talk in BCOS. Why this host? Because they can clearly articulate the thoughts and also, be a vocal person. Alongside all of this, your listening ability is very important because a lot of things goes in the course of an event. You have to be very, very observant, be quick to listen, and also you have to be, you really do not need to be that British, American accent speaking person. But the major thing is speak well, dress well, be vocal, and as much as possible. I think basically that makes a great MC for me.
Okay. So what's the biggest misconception that people have about MCs?
A couple of misconceptions.
Okay, a couple. Let's have it.
There was a time I did 5 major misconceptions. I think I posted it on my Instagram. 5 major misconceptions about MC. First is the belief that MCs are talkatives.
Aren't they?
No, we are not. We are speakers.
Oh, okay. So speakers,
yes,
not talkatives.
talkatives. Yes, we are speakers because there's actually a difference between speaking and talking. Talking is, you're just talking to the air, kind
whether
of
you're
like
communicating or not.
But you are speaking. When you speak, you are clearly sending a message. Another misconception about MCs, which a couple of people would also, they believe that MCs are party animals. They are high socialites. Not ever. I, for one, I am quite a quiet person.
Really?
I can stay indoor almost 24 hours of the day. I just want to enjoy my peace and tranquility. I just want to be there. But at the Jatimu, you just have to be outside there. So not all MCs are party people. As I don't like noise.
You don't like
noise. I don't like.
Wow. That's quite shocking.
Yes,
you don't like noise.
Yes, a lot. Well, from the people I've met, some MCs are very shy people.
So how do they do it on stage?
It is the job.
No, wait.
Let me tell you.
How will that MC be shy and perform well?
Okay, do you think all military personnel or all... Yes, let me just use... All uniform men are wicked people?
No, of course not.
But the job makes you look like you are a tough person.
Yeah, and I feel like the uniform does the speaking for you. As an MC, I don't think there's a badge or something.
The power that the mic has make you forget your personality.
Really?
You know, it's this MC thing, public speaking, is we are just like actors.
So you get into the role.
You just get into the role.
And that shall disappear.
Yes. The fact that I drink in a movie set doesn't make me a drunkard. Do you get? The fact that doesn't mean that ordinary Adekola is a lout. It's not. Well, you had done Mufulu Shaupo and Sunday Daburu, and people knew him for,
those roles.
So we are also fitting into the role. We are not actually very, very outside like that. And one of those misconceptions about MCs is also that we are flat.
Okay.
I always love to debunk that.
Oh, really?
I am not.
Okay, so you're speaking for yourself now.
My close
You're not giving a general opinion.
Close circle. We are not. And I can speak for some others that I know too well. We are not. And lastly, let me put this. MCs are not beggars. Yes, MCs are not beggars. Let me just say, we like money. Who doesn't? If you offer me, I take. But we are not beggars that I say, no. Maybe some... let me say event moderators.
Because we've seen events whereby the MC will do, enough like but there's no family, no.
Yes,
no. Kind of, what are they doing
Well,
there?
sometimes that could come from a place of sarcasm and humor.
They reject the money.
That's why if you offer me, that doesn't mean I will go after you and say,
What a stylish begging.
Well, a song came to mind, and that's the song of the legendary Ebenezer Obey, and the song goes, "Ara yin le na olowo, ara yin le na olowo emi ko." Does that mean that if they did not spray him at that point, he was going to stop singing?
No, but he's stylishly telling them.
I'm just reminding you
yeah.
that the currency in your hand too should not stay in your pocket.
Now, give some to me too.
If you give me a fine, but in all honesty, I will not take the mic to say, you must spread me. A professional master of ceremonies should not do that. A professional, just as we have professional doctors, we have quacks. In every industry, we have quacks. We have, those that belittle the industry. But a professional would not beg for money and should not.
Okay. Okay.
You are trying to say you'll be at that event one day and I'll see you.
Oh, definitely. I'm going to come. I'll make sure that when I get to the event, I won't even say hi. I'll just sit at the back and just watch you do your thing.
You do your video
and
evidence.
Then come back. Yes, and come back and say, I saw you when you were singing. Okay. Now, there was something that came to mind, because I'm so awed by the fact that you said you always knew that you were going to go into public speaking and broadcasting and, voiceover and being an MC. Was like you always knew right from the onset. And I feel like a lot of people do not have that gift. Many people reach a certain age in their life before they can say, okay, I think this is what I want to do. But for you, it seems like from quite a young age, you always knew that this is what you were going to do. So some of the jobs that you've done, have you ever heard your voice somewhere, or say someone just calls you up and say, hey, I think I heard this thing. Is this your voice?
Yes.
And how did you feel?
First off, I don't like playbacks.
Ah.
Okay.
Okay.
I don't like playbacks. When I was very active on radio, I voiced a couple of stingers, station ident, and a couple of other things, you know. So anytime and some recorded programs too. So anytime I'm driving and probably listening to my station then, and my voice comes up, it makes me feel like, okay.
Okay, I know we have a lot of things to tell, but we need to take a break right now.
Okay.
All right, please stay with us. This is the mid-morning show on BCOS Television.
Welcome back. This is the mid-morning show on BCOS television. Please listen to this public service announcement. Appointment of 16 permanent secretaries in the civil and public service of Oyo State. His Excellency Engineer Sheyi Makinde, FNSE, DSC, GSSRS, the Executive Governor of Oyo State, has approved the appointment of 16 permanent secretaries in Oyo State Civil and Public Service. The names of the newly appointed permanent secretaries are Mainstream Engineer Rakimat Abisola Adabanija, Mr. Olusheye Adigboladeyemo, Mr. Muiwa Sunday Olagoke, Mr. Dekunle Victor Adishola, Mr. Waidi Olasunbo Oyelowo, Mr. Sunday Akinwale Muradio, Mrs. Oluyinka Musomola Shotonwa Rogers, Mrs. Abidemi Christiana Adejumo, Inspector General of Education, Mr. Oluwatosin Adekunle Aderibigbe, House of Assembly Service Commission, Mr. Abolade Adeshino Labiyi, Tutors General, Mrs. Salimat Adebola Ayegboyin, Mrs. Rachel Folashade Alamu, Mr. Abimbola Abiodun Emmanuel, Permanent Secretaries, Local Government Sector, Mrs. Titilope Lanre Adeshino, Mr. Jubril Adekola Alaga, Mr. Iyola Lai Olalekon. The newly appointed accounting officers will be deployed as appropriate after their swearing in. Announcer, Mrs. Olubumi Oni, MNI, Head of Service. Okay, now on the mid-morning show with our guest, Mr. Akintayo Orishoga is an MC, a brand and print specialist, a broadcaster, a voiceover artist, and of course a PR expert, and he's been taking us through his public speaking. Now, before we went on that break and the public service announcement, you spoke about how you don't like playbacks. Why don't you?
I just, I don't know, it aches me somehow. I really do not like listening to myself.
Huh.
I'm quite a critical person.
Okay.
So when I try to listen to myself all over again, it makes me pick a lot of possible mistakes or flaws in my production. Not to say that I do not critique myself, but frequently when you listen to it, it makes me feel like I think there's an error here, and it makes me very overly conscious subsequently, and might take out my originality and natural flow of things. So you asked also that how do I feel when
someone reaches out to you to say, I heard your voice somewhere.
Yeah, I feel good, to be very honest. I wouldn't say that I don't feel good, and I also wouldn't say I don't feel excited about it. I really do. But oftentimes, especially my early days in broadcasting, when people say, I'm bad on you, and all those I'm bad on you eventually comes with some sort of bill, and I'm like, I'm not getting that much. The fame is more than the dough in this thing. So that's so oftentimes I just want to keep that privacy, but overall, I think it's a good feeling that someone enjoys what you do and they feel connected and associated with you.
Okay. Now, do you think that there are some opportunities that young people nowadays, would I say Gen Zs, I would say generally young people, look over when it comes to broadcasting?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Broadcasting has sharpened my speech, my fluency, even before I took it professionally.
Okay.
Because I figure that the best speakers are often communicators and broadcasting media people. Even if we don't speak the Queen's, that kind of accent and American accent, you would barely hear a communicator or a broadcaster speak bad English, particularly in pronunciation and tenses and all. So even if you have added to rough in elementary or secondary school, it can still, shape you. And also, there have been places that I got into with just my ID. I'm a journalist, I'm a broadcaster, and I have that access. With the kind of job I do, I've been able to meet people naturally I might not meet in my lifetime. So these opportunities abound. There are people that I've met, guests at events. Oh, I love the way you dress. There was a time I wore a particular dress for an event, and this person, I like your dress. Who made it? I linked my tailor with this person, and somehow because I like money, the person was like, can you come? The guy did well. Oh, let me do you an appreciation. He gave me money. My tailor also like, thanks for linking me with this person. He did me something. So all this coupled with your basic, some other allowances, some other perks will come with it. So people are overlooking broadcasting, how would I put it now? Yeah, the media space. And they're not tapping into it as much as they should. It might not be quick money.
Okay.
Which a lot of people are into now.
Exactly.
They just want to make that quick money.
The donation is not instant. It might not be quick money, but trust me, you would meet a lot of people, you would have relationships, and that relationship that you've had with one person could open multiple doors that you could knock hard and might not open.
Okay. I hope someone is actually listening.
Oh, definitely.
All right. Now, I want to talk about voiceover. Because these days now, you just scroll through the internet and everybody's doing voiceover. Now, what's distinguish a professional voiceover job from the usual? Because you can just pick up your phone now and do just do a recording and just spice it up, and then that's good to go. So, what distinguish a professional voiceover? Like, you just see the job and this is done by a professional.
All right. So, what distinguishes a professional voiceover artist and a mere recorder is the drama that comes with it. How best can I put this now? You, for a professional voiceover artist, you should be able to use your voice in not less than like 2 or 3 different distinct sub voices, kind of. So I can record, "Good morning, this is the mid-morning show, thank you for," and it's bare. But your voice should be able to, you should be able to naturally tweak your voice to speak in another manner. I've recorded 3 different, a jingle with 3 different voices: an Agbero voice, a driver, a formal person, and a street trader.
Please do something. Let's hear you.
We want to say it.
Get into action.
And ṣó fẹ́ kọlù mí ní ìwọ ọmọkùnrin, kí ló dé tó ń ṣe báyìí? Ẹ máa ń sọ yẹn náà, kí ló ṣe? So how many people can actually, and it sounds natural? Do you get? So what distinguishes you is being natural and still being able to, maneuver all those and still makes sense. The tempo, pitch, the thickness of your voice, and all this would also, distinguish you from just, I can record.
Okay.
So what are the skills that you feel like, voiceover artists, like the people that want to be very professional, what are those skills they need to learn?
A voiceover artist should be able to write scripts. You should be able to voice. You should be able to naturally put yourself in character. Like I said, you are more, a voiceover artist is just a non-visual actor. Let me put it like that.
Okay.
So what actors do? You see this person do Babolo today, tomorrow it can be a gatesman, tomorrow it can be, a street urchin and the rest. So you should be able to put yourself in various characters, and also you should be able to use editing tools. If, we find and understand that they are professional sound engineers, you can't take away their job. But if need be that you just do something very on the spot and very quickly, you should be able to, do all this.
At least the basic.
Yes.
Okay. We'll come back to that. But basically, I think we'll go into the PR experts thing when we get back. We'll go on a break. Stay with us.
Breaking news. The home is under attack, but not for long, because Hypo is here. Dirty floors and surfaces.
Not on our watch.
Dirty and stains, don't be do a shakara. We got the remedy, original palasa. Hypo, go wipe.
Germs always find a way back.
No green. Protect every day with Hypo.
Thank you for staying with us on the Mid-Morning Show and with our guest, King Shoga, an MC, broadcaster, voiceover artist, PR expert, that's a public relation expert. Now, how did you become a public relation expert? Because you've taken us through being an MC, a broadcaster, a voiceover artist, and even prints. So how did the PR expert come in?
All right, so from the basic mass communication, PR is just one of those subs under mass communication.
Yes.
And I think I thought I was going to do well in it when I was on radio. And at that point, the radio I worked with then was a music